That core competency of innovation and creativity is a lot of the essence of who I am, and I think why I've had the opportunity to have a real impact in the world.
Innovation and creativity is really something that we strive hard to, and I strive hard to achieve in my work and in my life. Just thinking as far as I can and trying to not limit myself by what's already been done, but really thinking farther than that.
I know that innovation and creativity is highly valued because of how I was received at the company.
Innovation and creativity is probably 95% of the reason why I am where I am. If I wasn't innovative and creative the day that I decided to start a company, I likely would not be here 11 years later.
With owning your own business, there aren't really any guidebooks exactly for how to do it, and so you have to be nimble and ready to respond and innovate.
When you're creating something that's relatively new, you need to use imagination. You need to use actually more of your arts background, I believe, in order to explain to coders and also even explain to audiences, like, this is what the future looks like.
I think both our projects are rooted in innovation and creativity. We were able to take ideas that weren't completely original. There were, social media networks that existed before, Twitter and Facebook, and we were able to observe what had worked well on those social media networks. We were able to take that, combine it with a passion for both dogs and photography, and Dogs of Instagram was born.
You don't need the next big grand idea. You do need the courage to say, I found one way we can do it differently. I found a few ways we can change that.
Our little secret is we're not usually doing anything very new. We're often deploying existing resources and using existing tools in a different way.
An Instagram account and a boutique selling dog stuff doesn't necessarily make sense. However, we really took kind of what we had built on Dogs of Instagram and thought creatively about how it could be applied to our next big project.
We were actually brought out to San Francisco to do an interview with Forbes to talk about innovation and how we were able to take a social media project and parlay it into an e-commerce business. The person who interviewed us for that article really believed that in the future, this is how new retail brands will come about. They will be born first on social media as content creators that will then take that and turn it into making and selling products.
When I started this company, I don't think that I had any idea that how I talk to people or how I resolve issues or how I work through issues or challenges would ever require creativity. But I would say that on a daily basis, we are required to be creative. We have to look for creative solutions. We have to think outside the box. There's no other way to do this unless we meet people where they are. And a lot of times that requires a ton of creativity.
When you are trying to innovate or be creative, you have to take a risk. There is a significant chance that you're going to fail. But I think you have to stay nimble and continue to forge ahead and try something else, or to at least pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try again.
One of my mottos right now is moving at the edges of my ability, and failure is awesome. To let yourself fall and understand how far is too far, and then you can work from there.
You never really fail, even if things don't turn out the way you were hoping. What you get out of the deal is everything you learn along the way. And that's super valuable. And I really believe that one can't truly succeed until they failed.
Sometimes we shoot a little too far, just little things. Even right here in America, like the Post-it. That was genius. Very simple, just a tiny bit of adhesive that allows you to take something on and off. I remember when that first came out, that was brilliant. And we all wish, why didn't I invent that?
Sometimes it just takes a little bit more, one way or another, to make big changes. And you never know the little innovation that you introduce, the creative thought you had, what that will spark in your colleague, and how together that can change the outcome in really big ways.
Sometimes, if you just say, you know what if we don't worry about those laboratories, but we replace the master air handlers on the roof? and really triple the energy performance there, all of a sudden the cash flow shows there's so much more benefit. The building's going to operate so much more efficiently and going to create that much more on the bottom line and money for the building that they can reinvest in the laboratory spaces themselves. That kind of innovation out of spreadsheets ends up surprising me every day, but it feels actually a lot like being a potter and working with clay. I'm just happen to be working with Excel and numbers, but it requires the same sort of artisan approach and craftsmanship that I learned at the University of Minnesota, the College of Liberal Arts.